owns, I think it's 31 acres on Hartley Road. The property is this site depicted on this map. The colors on this map is, the green is the RU zone, the way it exists today, and the reddish color is the CO commercial office zone. The property, like I said, fronts a little bit on Hartley Road. Directly across the street is an industrial zone, which is the old Altori landfill. Altori also owned the property to the north and west, and that was purchased by Orange and Rockland. That's this property right up here. This is Cheechunk Road, Owens Road, and the corner of Echo Lake Road. We're to the north of the Heritage Trail, and the property originally, before 2004, was an industrial zone. And it was owned by the Kerr property, the Kerr family, for about approximately 45 years. They purchased it. In 2004, there was a zone amendment, and we got split into two zones, where our commercial zone in the back is kind of blocked by our residential zone in the front, making it almost impossible to really develop the property the way it's zoned. We've tried to market the property since 2004, had no interested parties involved in it, and the proposal that we're holding the public hearing tonight is to change the zone to an industrial zone on the property's entirety. We're contiguous with the industrial zone right along Hartley Road, and just change the site to one zone so we can develop.
Okay. We can open the floor for public comment and or questions. If someone has a question or a comment, you'll need to talk into the microphone, state your name and your address.
Hello, Donna Allen from 138 Cheechunk Road. I just have a question. So that industrial area, or the proposed industrial area, that encompasses the Heritage Trail?
No.
So could you just show me on here where the Heritage Trail is?
The Heritage Trail, the zone lines are like down the middle, so this is the Heritage Trail right here. Right now on the zoning map, the Heritage Trail is split by residential and office buildings. The zone lines were put down the middle of it.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Any other questions or comments? Dennis, I've not heard back from the...
No, we have a couple just housekeeping items. To comply with seeker, we're going to need a minimum of short EAF form, environmental assessment.
Yeah, I've submitted one.
Okay, I do not have it. It's possible.
It's on record.
It's on record.
Is it on file? Okay. That should be disseminated along with the petition, I assume it was, to the planning board and the ERB. Okay. And yes, we have not received comments from them.
Right.
So the proper procedure would be to obviously take any others for the public input,
Right.
but we may keep the public hearing open until such time as we receive their comments.
Do they have a time period?
Reasonable. Believe it or not, there's no set time. Yeah.
I did talk to Neil today, that the ZBA did review it. No, ZBA.
Zoning board of appeals would have nothing to do with it. The ERB?
I'm sorry,
Environmental Review Board, okay.
ERB looked at it and had no problems with it, but I have no written record on that. All right. Would someone like to make a motion to keep this public hearing open pending the information from the planning board and the ERB?
So moved. Second.
Okay.
I just had
Sure.
one or two questions.
Sure, go for it then.
It's a public meeting, but I want to. Jim, could you just delineate on there, this was a thing that we got, where the piece of property is?
Show you on this?
Yeah, just circle, when you circle it.
Oh, on here? Yeah.
Or pen or whatever.
that dirt, but the first quarter of this property is an open field. You can see into it. And then 3/4 of it is a wooded area.
Okay, I'll put this upside down, I guess.
Right where,
So
where you're at.
this is Hartley Road right here, right? That Hartley Road?
Yes,
And
yes.
this is Chichon.
Chicho, right.
Okay. And this is the O&R parcel.
That's the owner parcel. Right. And those open fields, it's probably 10 acres, maybe a little less than 10 acres, about 8 acres is that open
Okay.
field in that photograph.
Right, so that's what was confusing, that's why I should do that. What was confusing me was, I see, it looks like 3 structures that are on that parcel now, if I'm looking at this correctly. And then when I went to the map that you gave us the first time around?
Yes.
and all those big arrows, I see proposed building, and it looks like somewhat near those 3 buildings. That's why
I
was
think
confusing.
what you're looking at are trailers or trucks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they were trucks. I don't know what year this photo is, but somebody
Oh.
parked trailers there
So
probably.
they're not.
They're not even there.
They're not there.
They're not there.
Okay, that's what, when I looked at this, I was getting totally confused here, because it looked like there was the parcel was developed to some extent, and then there were proposed buildings. As far as the proposed buildings for the composting area, they're the same as they are now. That's basically if this is built, that's what's going to be built, is a proposed
Well,
building?
That was just, we would really have to massage that site plan a little bit, but that's kind of what we wanted to do. We wanted to show you just,
Oh, I see. So this is kind of proposed?
yeah, that's definitely not a final site plan at all.
I see.
But that's generally the area that we want to develop it.
But the entrance into the site would be just at that one corner?
Just at the one
That's
corner,
really
just
where you
Hartley
have
Road. That's it.
Your entrance into it, right? Okay, that's what I had.
Any other questions or discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion carried. Public hearing will be kept open pending written review from the planning.
One question, did we send it to the planning board yet? Did it go?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, in fact, I want to say, we have another zone change proposal, this is important. I want to say it's next Thursday. We have a staff meeting? Is that, I shouldn't get
They had a staff meeting today.
Yeah, but it wasn't on for
Was
today.
not on today.
So when I talked to Norton, they wanted to package the 2 of them.
Together.
Right. And I'm almost positive she said to me next Thursday. Would you know offhand for something?
I'm not, no, I would.
Yeah, I honestly don't know. Yes, they have it, and it's being taken up at their next work session. So for some reason, I thought it was Thursday.
Should, we're 2 weeks from today.
These 2 weeks?
No, their next work session would be 2 weeks from today, a week before their, so actually it'd be 3 weeks before it gets heard, reviewed. It's the 2 are hooked together.
That's, again, to be perfectly correct,
I mean, I was part of the work session today, and I didn't see it. They had one simple item.
No, so I had a conversation with Kelly.
Right? So if you look at the next work session for them, it's 2 weeks from today. And then the following week is when they'll have the planning board meeting.
Unless they want to have a special one scheduled.
Oh, I don't know about that. I'm just talking about the normal schedule.
Next week is their regular planning board meeting, is that work session?
Right. And it'll be 2 weeks from then.
Unless, you know, again, if you think about it logically, the work session, there's not the full planning board in attendance. They may be putting it on the agenda for the planning board.
Next
Could
Thursday.
be.
Next
I don't know.
I'm
I'm just-
almost positive, she said next Thursday, they'll both will be taken up.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we don't know the answer. Right. We'll find out tomorrow from Neil.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. Okay,
So
We have a date to come back.
that's what I'm saying. If this public hearing is staying open now, should we set a time and date when it's going to
In
reconvene?
theory, it'd be each meeting. It would come up
yeah,
as
we
an agenda.
Oh, okay.
can't, with any degree of certainty,
Right.
if they're gonna hook this into the other property.
Right.
On Monday, the next Monday, it will be on, or the Thursday?
It would be
2 weeks from today, on the Thursday or the Monday?
Monday.
Well,
The
Monday. Okay,
Okay, thank
very
you.
good. Well, we'll just have to get up with you as to when, but more than likely it's gonna be 2 weeks from this past Monday. Okay.
I would always suggest the applicant contact the planning.
Yeah.
Uh,
Mr. Dillon, if you'll just talk to Neil Howard, he'll tell you exactly when.
Yeah, he'll be up for it.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
All righty, the next item then is, on Monday, we talked about a petition for the NU3 LLC for a zoning change. And we have the petition here. It's been supplied to us with the information that we'll review with us on Monday. So, so I guess what we've got to do is, what we did, yeah, now what we have to do is we have to set a date for public hearing. And I guess here again, it'll be on the 10th of November, correct? Based on the timing it takes to advertise this.
Well, yes, 10th, or then your other meeting in November is the 21st.
The 21st would be better, only in that we're going through 2 public hearings, one of which is the 2012 budget, which may take a while.
We'll go for the 21st.
21st? Okay.
7:30?
Okay, would someone like to make or I'll make a motion to discuss with the public a zoning change of a parcel, section 12, block 1, lot 47, and tax map. And it's a petition by NU3 LLC for the zoning change at 7:30 on November, is it 21st, 2011, at 41 Webster Avenue, Town Hall.
That's a Monday, right?
Yeah.
No,
It's not the 21, Priscilla.
Yeah, because the 20, I think the 23rd or 24th is Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Yeah, right, Thursday, yeah, I'm just.
The 24th is Thanksgiving. The 21st will be our Monday meeting.
It's the
Right.
Monday meeting.
Right.
I mean, that's all, I'm just letting.
Oh, that's fine.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. What do you-
All right.
Okay. Is there a second to that motion?
Second, yeah.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Yeah,
Motion carries.
maybe a combo work. Well, you know, Thanksgiving, so it might be a
No, no.
combo meeting anyway. Right, thanks,
Yeah.
okay.
In that regard, just a housekeeping again, as you talk to Mr. Esposito, Priscilla, Val will need to sign a referral, 239 Orange County Planning. It's within 500 feet of a state highway. All right? I'm just mentioning housekeeping
Okay.
to Priscilla, so you know when, I imagine,
We'll make the copies.
Steve will come in and she'll have to just authorize send it over.
Okay, you'll make the public hearing.
Right, she'll bring the form, I say she, he will bring the form.
Okay. Very good. All right.
Point of order, point of order. Yes, point of order. A weak one or a strong one?
No, just one. We have combined, both of those are combined. So we have November 10th, which is a combined work session and a regular meeting. And November 21st is a work session and regular meeting.
Yeah, that's what
Makes no problem.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
No, just so
Sure,
it
yes.
seemed like we were gonna be packing a lot of stuff.
That's why I don't want to do it on the 10th.
That's right.
Okay. Very good. Okay, Dennis, the next item, could you review the resolutions for, or the first one for Matrock Equities?
Yes, as soon as I get a copy of it. Okay. The initial one is Matrock Equities. This is a tax certiorari brought against the town. And it specifically, it refers to the apartment complex located on Craigville Road as you leave Main Street or Route 207 and about 100 yards up on the right-hand side. And basically, the petitioners have sued the town for tax years 2006 and following. The resolution recites the particular years in question and the particular pertinent index numbers for those 5 cases. Basically, with the help of the assessor's office and our appraiser, these have all been reviewed and analyzed, and based upon the fact that Matrock is willing to waive interest accumulation, et cetera, we've arrived at a settlement for the proceeding, which will result in a refund from the town of Goshen to to the petitioner for those 5 years of $3,613. And discretion being better part of valor, the expense to litigate it would be appreciably higher than that number.
Can you tell the public what the other ones are, the school district?
Yeah, as with any tax certiorari, if there is a reduction in the assessment, many times it will result in a refund. Sometimes, again, the applicants will waive the refund based upon the fact that going forward, they'll get the benefit of the new assessment. But as you know, we're in the process now of revaluing the property, so there is no benefit of going forward because it's going to be a new roll next year. So in this instance, there would be refunds. The town's refund would be $3,613. The school district's refund would be $53,870. Village would be required to pay $20,257. The fire district would be required to pay $3,958. Notice the fire district is owes more money back than the county. And I'll just leave that out there. And then the county is $9,315. And again, in fairness, what happened here, if you notice, there were 5 years. 2 years were what they call forgiven. They agreed to have their petition dismissed with prejudice, with no refund. So those 3 subsequent years, again commencing 2009 and following, they result in those refunds I just mentioned to you. The village is aware, they've been kept informed. The school district approved, I say approved, through their council, it was discussed with the school district, and they signed off, or if you will, approved the refund or the settlement of the case. And procedurally, we control, so we take the first step, settle, we'll sign, authorize the supervisor to sign, if you will, and or myself, depending on how the judgment documents are put together. And then it'll be forwarded for processing of the school district.
Okay.
And the specific resolution recites, I think this is one they wanted me to sign for some reason.
Yes,
Yes,
it is.
they've got special counsel to sign, and you see also the school district there. And so the authorization, the last resolved paragraph recites that, one, you approve the stipulation of settlement as a next, which this is, in fact, the document, and you authorize me to sign any all documents necessary to effectuate it.
Right. Would someone like to make a motion in regarding this resolution, settling of the tax surcharge claim, Metric Equities versus the Board of Assessors and or the assessor for the town of Goshen and the Board of Assessment Review?
So moved.
Second?
Any discussion?
As Dennis was saying, and just to reiterate for the benefit of the public, it would have cost us at least $5,000 just to do an appraisal. To go to
Correct.
court. And then, of course, our legal fees.
And your testimony by the expert in court,
Right,
so,
and so on and so forth. So for argument's sake, it would have been $10,000.
minimum.
Yeah, and therefore, we have to return $3,613, so you have to make a business decision.
Correct. And also to emphasize, as George knows, we saved 2 years completely. I mean, those 2 years alone would exceed the numbers we're talking about. The part of the settlement was they were agreed to forego 2 years, pick up on the 3, and then all bets are off for next year. As you may or may not aware, when you settle these things, you're bound by them, both sides, for a 3-year period in the commercial area. That is not the case when you do a revow. So all bets are off next year, and ideally, if we come in with a proper revow, we get 100%.
I think it's also pertinent to say to the public, we've been working on this for some period of time. This is a large property,
Very.
a very, very large complex of apartments, so this is probably a fairly good sentiment. Okay, Madam Clerk, can we have a roll call vote, please?
Councilman Lyons,
Aye.
Councilman Newbold,
Aye.
Councilman Capella,
Aye.
Supervisor Bloomfield.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you very much.
Just a point of order, can I have the move it in the second?
George moved it, Kenny seconded it.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, can you go through the second?
Yeah, the second cert is it involves 2002 Route 17M, which is the building located on Route 17M. As you leave South Street going towards Chester, the second office building on the left-hand side. And this involves tax years 2005 and 2011. So there's a number of petitions here which were pending, and in the resolution is recited the pertinent tax years and index numbers. And again, same type of analysis. We've gone through it, we've analyzed it, we've discussed it with the assessor, any number of meetings and research done, including with the appraiser. And the recommendation, again, with the knowledge of all the parties, of a settlement at the following level was proposed, accepted, and agreed to. The town's refund is $2,059. The school district's refund is $30,176. The village's refund, because it's a village property, is $11,453. The fire district, once again, exceeds ours, $2,160. And the county refund is $5,760 to settle all years total.
And also be resolved that you as special counsel sign the authorized execute.
Yeah, let me just verify on the documents.
It does. Would someone like to make a motion regarding this resolution?
So moved,
Second.
Any discussion?
just to get up to what I said.
Yeah.
Right.
And,
How can you spend $10,000,
Oh, yeah.
$12,000
and you know, it's
settle
good.
it for two?
Exactly. It's good that the public be aware of these things too, because these are very complex, as the board I know knows. And the effort has to go into them in the analysis, and sometimes we're right, sometimes we have them what I call overvalued. And you're looking at appreciable expense on some of these. As you know, from Turi.
I think it's also pertinent to talk about right here is also that Phil Cantorino, who's the Commissioner of Finance, who's not here this evening, spent a lot of time with myself on these certiaries, meeting with the attorneys, the assessor, the appraisers, all that. So this is again, on both of these is the conclusion of a lot of work over a long period of time.
The other thing I want to add too,
Sure.
to the public members and Dennis, a lot of times we get advice from the assessors and the appraisal that you can't support
The existing numbers, right?
the existing.
And, you know,
that
that's-
plays a big factor.
And it's
also.
important that the public be aware of things like that, because what happens is the assessor's office, as you all know, works very hard, and they have in excess of 3,000 parcels to assess, let alone residential. And the market can move on you very quickly, as we found in the last 3 or 4 years. And sometimes your data it doesn't keep pace, if you will. And that's the reason for the revow. And once that's in place, we ought to be able to do this more accurately, more fairly, and more quickly, either up or down, depending on what the economy and the market value call for.
Madam Clerk, a roll call vote, please.
Councilman Lyons?
Aye.
Councilman Newball?
Aye.
Councilman Capella?
Aye.
Supervisor Bloomfield?
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you.
Again, the motion in the second, I'm sorry,
Aye,
again,
and
Lou.
Lou, second.
thank you.
I would also like two things. Number one, we're getting near the bottom of the list of tax certiaries. We've spent hundreds of hours on this and thousands of dollars legal fees and assessors on these. There are a couple of big ones still to resolve. The other thing is the property revaluation. We're using a computer system. We're using consultants. We're doing in-house work. It will be used next year. We'll complete it probably in May of next year. And this will significantly influence how these things go. Because as Dennis said, when you have over 3,000 parcels and you've got tons and tons of paperwork, it's hard to know the relative value of one parcel versus another. And this, hit a button on the computer, it's going to tell you what changes, movement you've taken place in your assessments, in your property values in your community. So anyway, I'm glad to see this list. Could you even venture a guess at what percentage of our assessments?
We're well over 75% resolved.
There you go.
Yeah.
And we had certiorari that went back to the year 2000. And I think one of the reasons why they can linger on like that is as long as the market is going up and values are going up of the properties, the owners of the property are less likely to want to resolve it because they're going to get a high interest rate if they get a return. Okay? And so they don't push it. Well, now in a down market, guess what? They need the money. And so they're pushing them and we're resolving them. So this is a good thing. It's cleaning house with all these, and it's the thing to do. And again, it's been conclusion of a lot of work. Okay, under new business, Dennis, what was the item you were talking about?
Heritage Custom Home subdivision. This is a particular subdivision which, again, was approved at the planning level, and what we have presently,
You're talking about New York Farms?
no,
Well,
no.
Which one?
This is Heritage Custom Homes subdivision. It's a different project. It's Clark Road.
Oh, okay.
It's a 5-lot.
Oh, okay, yes.
Yeah,
This
some
is
of these
5
things,
lots,
yeah, symmetry of names, if you will.
Right.
And what's occurred is the easement agreement, access over lot number 5 in the Westlowski Sayer Cemetery to the town of Goshen, and a declaration of conservation easement was prepared, required by the planning board, prepared, submitted, reviewed, and approved. And in order to record the documents, just like any deed or document you may be involved in your own personal lives, which has to be filed in the clerk's office, it's required that both parties, grantor and grantee, sign certain documents. This resolution simply authorizes the supervisor ministerially to sign those documents, they having been requested, required, and approved by the planning board.
Someone like to make a motion in that regard?
So moved. Second.
For discussion, I guess the question I have is, this is strictly the planning board review and approval?
Yes. Yes, it is. It is strictly theirs, and again, because of the recording requirements of deeds. And
Well, I understand that part, I
Right.
just,
It
but
is
we're not gonna get a crack at
No,
reviewing this. Okay.
no. You can certainly look into it.
No, I
and
understand
review
that.
it, but you have no jurisdiction.
At what stage is this through the planning board?
Final.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's finalized, they're
Yeah,
ready to.
yeah, these are housekeeping
Shovel around.
details. There's one lot, apparently it was a cemetery, and
Yes.
there was an easement to have across a particular lot to make sure that you could
Family
access.
can have access.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Any other questions or discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you very much. Would someone like to make a motion to authorize the supervisor to pay manual accounts payable run of 10/12/2011 amounting to $4,281.13, and manual account payable runs of 10/4/2011 amounting to $8,246.16, and accounts payable check run for 10/13/2011 amounting to $259,355.20.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, now we're open for pillars of the floor and anything that anybody would like to talk about. Yes. If you would, come up and take the microphone. Just pull it out. There we go. Should be on.
Is it on?
Yeah.
My name is Alexander Petrovic, 8 Meadowbrook Lane. I was here a month ago. I have a few questions regarding the flood issue behind the creek behind my house.
Right.
Not this weekend, just past the weekend before. It rained, maybe like 2 inches of rain, and flooded our whole backyards again. I live at 8. I forgot her last name. She lives at 10, Janet.
Markowitz.
The water was all the way up to her garage, and this is ridiculous. I mean, something needs to be done. I mean, my wife was here 2 weeks ago. They said something about you applying for a grant
No.
or getting money to clean, not dredge it, but clean the creek out. But I haven't seen no one come out there. I mean,
Let me bring up the speed on what's been happening. We hired an engineer who went out and he looked at the front and he looked at the back. He looked at the road up the front and he looked at the back. He's written a report which has been given to Mr. Knoll, who's the head of the DPW. There are some things that we will do as soon as he's got us on his list. He's got literally dozens of things to do as a consequence of the hurricane and this tropical storm Lee. Okay. A couple of things that they're pointing out as soon as he can get out there and do it and get at it is I think there's a tree he needs to pull out and a rock. Those will be the immediate things he'll do. Beyond that, we're going to discuss the costs and all the other things associated with whatever else might be considered to be done.
Now, I'm sorry, I spoke to Mr. Knoll the other day when they
Right.
were working for the sewer, I
On
guess,
the pump.
the pumps,
Right.
and I walked behind my property,
Right.
and I know I discussed with you,
Right.
he's seen that pipe, I think it's like a 15-inch pipe
Uh-huh.
from the road that dumps the water from the road into my backyard.
Right.
And he says, I've never seen something like this before.
Right.
And besides the creek water,
Right.
I'm getting the water from the road dumping in my
Yeah.
backyard.
That's why I said they looked at the front as well as the back, and
Yeah,
that will
That's a
be,
different issue.
Yeah.
that's going to be addressed as well.
Now, he said, even if he wanted to do something, he don't have the equipment, the county has the equipment, so would Goshen be getting, like, borrowing equipment from the county?
I don't know, I haven't talked to him, but in reality, I mean, in terms of dredging or digging out that waterway, that's going to be a big job. Okay, and I don't know when he's going to have the resource to do that. It would take an excavator versus a backhoe.
Yeah, like a track
But-
or something.
Yeah, but the first thing he's going to do is going to snag that tree out and think there's a large rock in the waterway that will
It's
certainly
right
help the
before
water.
the bridge that takes you over.
Now, did one of you walk it? Because
I
Yes,
walked
I was gonna say, I did.
All right, 'cause
I was
Jan-
out there the day that you referred to. Now, it was still raining when I went out there. I stood with Mrs. Markowitz, and she allowed me. I said, is it all right to come the next day and walk all of the properties? I have permission to walk on private property. She said, well, certainly, which I did. And Mr. Knoll was there. We discussed some of Doug pointed out, some of the stuff that could be cleared away, but with all of this rain, we can't get to it.
Because I'm sorry, because she even said, I was away on vacation,
Yes.
I was camping, and I asked her when I came back, and she said it rained like maybe like 2 inches, and it took a very, very long time for the water to recede,
Yeah.
That's-
and that's,
Yes, it was
You
basically back
know,
to the
but
driveway.
in reality, the water that we got from those two storms is that the water table is extremely high. Extremely high. We're going to need 3, 4, 5 weeks of no or very limited rain. Every time we get another inch or two, it just packs on what we've already got. The water table's that high. And as Ken was saying, I think that what he's going to have to do before he gets machinery back in to do some of these things is wait till it dries out enough to get to access to that debris. But he is intending to do that. I don't know beyond that what he will or will not do.
I just want to clarify one thing.
Yeah.
You mentioned something about a grant. We
No,
never
I think
brought
it's
up-
money. I think my-
was you getting like FEMA money, like 300 something out to clean 3 different sections?
No, that was, you know what that was the picture. He showed the 2 different sites that we looked at.
Oh, no, that had to do with the overpass and culverts down
Oh.
out. It had nothing to do with
All right.
that
Now,
problem.
this
Right.
is damage that we
That
had
was,
in the
just so
road.
you know, that was all in the same engineering report. It was
Report,
like
that
5
was
pages.
partial,
I don't
3
even think
different
your
sites.
wife realized that we were talking also
Right.
about the screen behind you, but we were also talking about, where's the one? Hartley Road, the bridge there, and a few other places. And that's FEMA money, but it had
Okay.
nothing to do. They just happened to be in the engineer report all together, but different categories. So I don't want you
All
to
right.
get misled.
All right.
No, but we will be doing something as soon as he can get back in there. It's dry enough to get his machine in. It'll be a backhoe, extend the hoe.
Just one more thing, we did
Right.
talk about, but he did acknowledge that the front part is definitely, has to be our first priority. He didn't have a sort of like that, you're right. He never saw anything, I guess when he gets a chance, he's definitely, that's probably a top priority.
Because
Right
like,
now.
that house was built in 2003,
Right.
I bought it in 06,
Right.
and it comes 3/4 in the back of my property, and all the rain from the road is coming into my, beside, and where it comes, that's not even clean, so
Right.
it's just filtering in, plus,
Well, that's why they had the engineer look at the street in front of your home and the way it's dumping out of your home. It's all going to be, that's going to be looked at. I mean, he had recommendations on it. But it is, I mean, he brought Mr. Knoll and I, we went out this week, another lady, and she just, I was 6'2" when she started, and I was 5'7" when she finished because of water going across her drive. And this, I can say honestly, that there's dozens of situations like this. We're just working down through them. we really do know, and we've got the engineer report now that kind of tells us what to do. It's just a matter of getting the resource, the time, and setting the priority. Now, the priority is still to make sure our roads are open and safe, and that the culverts are in good state of repair, which is they're catching up on it, but they're not where they need to be. So,
No, the other question I have is,
Yeah.
I spoke to Mr. Knoll the other day, and I spoke to you a month ago, that garbage is still by my house. People are adding garbage to it. Mr. Knoll knows about it. He told me he spoke to you several times that he would remove it, but he has to get the okay from you, and you said no, not to remove it. And my question is, my family is very good friends with Mike Nusley, who's the
Right.
supervisor, and the village provided dumpsters for the people who got flooded out
right.
to remove the stuff.
Right.
So why couldn't the town do something
No,
like
the
that?
village, the village has garbage and refuse pickup on a weekly basis.
But they provided dumpsters for the people who got flooded.
Well,
Now, Mr. Knoll said he would remove my garbage, but you guys said
I
no.
You'll talk to we'll look into that, yeah.
I have no pickup truck,
Oh, I
nothing to
understand.
get rid of, and it isn't like I'm just doing a spring cleanup. That
Okay.
was from the water damage.
Right, okay. I'll have someone talk, Lou talk to Mr. Knoll on that, and see what he can do. But in reality, the village does have garbage and refuse pickup weekly. We don't, and we're not geared up to go the entire town. We don't, and that's why.
Residents of the village do pay for that.
And village residents pay for that.
Because I heard that they submitted that into FEMA. I'm just telling you what.
Well, I know-
I was in Elsie one day and I asked, I was a board member, I forgot his name, and he overheard me talking to my uncle, and he's like, well, we provide a dump, why isn't the village?
Well,
I
here's
mean,
why.
The town's doing it, the village, we did it, I don't know, that's
Well-
what brings their attention.
Well, let me share what they did. They had over by the snow station, they put two dumpsters there for about 15 properties where they all could put their stuff in it. They didn't have to go around with trucks to collect it, it was right there, localized, okay? In the town of Goshen, we had probably 15, 20 different sites that flooded, okay? And we will see what we can do to pick up that trash,
I appreciate it, thank you.
all right?
Have a good evening.
Okay.
We have, we'll take care of that.
Thank you.
All right, any, yeah, Joe?
Come over here and use the mic.
That's good.
For Priscilla's benefit.
Yes.
In the certs that Dennis was reading, I noticed a differential of about a factor of 4 on the second cert between the village and the town. I was curious why the village was so much higher.
Village property.
The school I understand, but why would the village be so much higher than the town?
Because the property exists in the
No,
village.
but
The
they're
village
both-
tax rate is appreciably higher than town.
This was a village property.
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, both properties.
Both property
I
to
see.
village.
Like, the schools I could understand because
Right.
their rate is so much higher.
We don't get the same amount, we get a little piece.
Right.
Both village properties.
And then the other thing that I just wanted to mention, again, talked about it here before. Recently, there was a cert that the village passed a resolution to pay, and the comment was made, again, by the mayor, that the village had no control over this. And I would urge this board to communicate with board members over there again, to let them, to clarify the issue. I mean, I brought up before, you made it clear that Mr. Donovan is always appraised of the situation and invited in, but somehow that message is not getting through to the board members.
Let me ask you a question, because I know you said this a dozen times, and I know what Dennis does. If we convey to their attorney, like they would have conveyed to our attorney brings that message back to us. Right? I
I
can't help
can't
it.
speak for them, Lou.
Well, that's the problem here. Can't speak for Mr. Donovan if he doesn't bring. His job is to relay the message. If the message was coming the other way, Dennis does a damn good job of relaying everything to us. So that's where it lies.
Well, I've had meetings, Fred.
I don't know what to tell you.
I've gone back to we'll go to Mayor Higgins, where our attorney, their attorney, myself and Mr. Higgins, I was going down through a list of things that we need to work on together. Tax surcharges. I said, we have the school in here quite often looking at them. We're looking at them. You never see the village here, okay? For whatever reason. So it's an important issue if they come over and understand what's coming. So
If I may,
Yeah.
David Donovan does speak with me regularly on these items. He indicates to me that he does report to the board, his board. He's indicated to me of late that the board uses language along the lines of it's out of our control. But again, they're part of our assessing district. We, by state law, are the assessor, unless they want to have their own assessor, which they can appoint. And Mayor Roddy, my understanding is appointed Steve Braintrees,
Sure.
Prior mayor.
Higgins?
Marcia Matthews. I apologize. It's Marcia too.
We lost everybody in the village.
I know. He previously appointed Marcia Matthews to study the issue and to report back to the village board as to whether or not they should perhaps create the position of assessor in the village, and then they would have more input or control.
Well, they used to have the assessor can be anywhere. It could be in a school.
But one has nothing to do with the other. These are judgments that are made by a judge. It's been adjudicated.
No, let me go through. Let me answer. The assessor can be anywhere. They're domiciled in this building. They can be in the village, the fire department, the school, they can, the county, Chester. Okay. Now, the assessors that we've had, and this is the second one since I've been here, they're schooled in the real property tax law, and they do certain things in a certain way. Okay? And they come up with values. People challenge those values. It has nothing to do with the municipality, wherever it's going to be. They would challenge over there. It's good business on a business's part to challenge the assessments.
I understand all that.
So,
Why did you ask the question?
Because apparently the board over there, a board of seemingly intelligent people,
Joe,
have not gotten
you say
that.
it
Joe,
every
Joe,
week,
let me,
you get the same
I'm going to
answer.
clarify this. I did it before with a little bit, maybe you don't buy it. If it was the other way around, I'd be there looking at the information, okay? I wouldn't ask for an invitation, all right? I'm just going to tell it like it is. I would be there, or our board would be there, or somebody from our board would be there.
And I
So,
know that.
Not defending the village board, but rhetorically speaking, I tend to think what probably happens is they've got a lot on their plate. These things crop up periodically, not on a regular basis. And it involves a direct refund, an appropriation by the village. So it's a part of their budget item, and they've got to write a check. I mean, this is not happening over time. So I tend to think that human nature being what it is, I'm sure they react accordingly.
Dennis, you have given a list of all these certificates.
I know I have.
With all the potential paybacks.
Right.
Months and months and months ago. And you update this constantly, so they have access to what we're working on to resolve these certificates.
They absolutely do.
They've got that information.
Mr. Donovan.
and I'll go one step
And
further.
in fairness, Donovan assures me, now I don't go to the meeting, assures me that he does share that information with the board members.
Right.
Now, as such, I can't speak to the rhetoric. I know when the village makes comments about it's not within, we have no control over this. Technically speaking, that's correct. They have a whole lot of input. They have a whole lot of information. And just like the school district, we would not, like I was laboring the point on the other two, which we resolved tonight, we would not settle these things without full discussion and disclosure, because we know, as you saw the numbers, we're the tail wagging the dog. Our impact is not as great as the fire district in certain instances.
On a village
10-time multiples on the school district, and maybe 3 or 4 multiple on the village.
I have, I think that we had their attorney here on one property.
Their attorney being village?
Donovan.
Oh, yeah, okay.
On one of these work
Yeah,
sessions.
one of these major ones.
Now, we've had dozens of work sessions. And we've had the attorney from the school district in dozens.
Comes
of them.
regularly.
And comes regularly.
It also, in fact, there was one final, it also could be a cost factor. Because again, I assume, because it's litigation, I think the village pays their attorney extra for litigation. So it could be a per diem charge, maybe a.
Well, let me explain why I've brought this up again. I know you're sick of being pestered about it, and I'm not.
You can tell I'm sick of it.
I'm not laying it at your feet.
Okay.
But I am suggesting, as I have on other issues,
Right.
that this is a communications problem more than a process problem. I understand the process here. You know, everybody in this room understands the process. I'm suggesting that this is a public relations / communications issue, and that it would do all of the parties involved in this community some benefit if there were perhaps a more fluid communication between the two boards on this issue. Because although you understand it on this end, the board members on the village end don't seem to be getting the message,
Joel.
because I keep hearing the same rhetoric.
Joel, every time we get ready to settle one, like tonight, the two tonight, that is all the data, all the information, all the assessments, all the dialogue, everything is reviewed with their attorney. Reviewed with their attorney, by our attorney.
I understand it.
Our attorney says he reviews that with their board. What is it we're supposed to do beyond that? I mean, that's one-on-one.
You do meet with the mayor on a regular basis these days?
No,
You're having occasional meetings with the mayor?
certainly.
Well, perhaps it could be conveyed over a cup of coffee.
Well, the fact is, these things, for example, we don't wait for the cup of coffee. We're there with the information before we resolve it. So before tonight, this was all reviewed with them. I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's not one of these impromptu, go, buddy, let's have a cup of coffee. We go out of our way. We go out of our way to ensure that they understand this. That's from a lawyer to a lawyer, so that they know.
Again, I'm
the
not laying
details.
it at your feet. I just feel that the message...
You're not, but you are.
No, I'm not. I'm not. The message, apparently from what is said regularly at village board meetings, the message is not getting through. People continue to repeat this, that they have no control, they should do something, they should get their own assessor.
I've got
That's
the
nothing
answer
to
to
do with the
that.
assessor.
No, I've got the answer to that. It is one, of acceptance. Somebody in another building on the other side of the town is doing all this work, and all of a sudden I've got to write a check for $21,000.
Yeah, it's,
And I'm looking at this piece of paper, why I have to do it. Say, well, I have no control over this. Well, they do. They could have been there months in advance, as does the school, and looking at all the detail before we resolve these issues. So I don't know. It's we spent a lot of time on this one. Anybody else got anything? Jerry.
There's a movie, I can't remember the name of it. One of the most famous lines in that movie was, there was a prison guard, he had those mirrored glasses,
Uh-huh.
and he says to one of the prisoners, what we have here is a lack of communication.
cool hand Lou.
Cool hand Lou. Very good, Dennis.
Oh, I am.
Do we have any updates on the trash haulers at 3 a.m. in the morning?
I have not received anything.
We did pass the message on to the police department, check it, but I have not heard. Okay.
Doug, has anybody looked into, and I brought this up before, the DCJS, Department of Criminal Justice Services, the statistics of crime for the town of Goshen? Because it might be interesting, with the, personnel and whatever, to get a grasp on just what is the crime situation in our town.
Well, it's interesting when you say that, because what I try to do every week, I look at the police report in the newspaper. And
I do the same.
And I see over and over and over and over and over again traffic violations.
Right.
Once in a while, marijuana in the
Yeah,
car.
drunks, marijuana, and traffic tickets.
Now, I do know that within the last month or so, we've had 2 burglaries. One was out on 17A, where a young boy broke the window at 2 o'clock in the morning, and when the alarm went off, our police just came by and picked him up. Okay, and that was resolved very quickly. Another one is that I talked to Sergeant Faust on is a break-in on Lower Reservoir Road. Okay, and the people were not home, and they opened the window, went in, and took jewelry and a computer. Those are the only serious crimes that I know of. These things will happen once in a while, but Anyway, but to go to the DJS and say, print it out, I've not seen that. I've seen it in the past.
Yeah, yeah. You know, something you might think about to have them send it to you maybe on a biannual schedule, because you really get a grasp, and you could also get a grasp of the village of Goshen, what their crime elements are, or their crime statistics, and make a comparison of these towns and villages around us. So when we are talking about perhaps hiring more police officers, less police officers, their job is to prevent crime and arrest perpetrators. So it kind of gives you, I think, a feeling of what the criminal arena is like.
When I've seen it in the past, it was very, very limited serious crime. I mean, it was the traffic violations, the drug in the car kind of thing. Once in a while, you'll have someone break in, public nuisance, etc., etc. We have had serious crime in the past from time to time. I can't recall when it occurred, but yeah.
I had a conversation recently with Lita over at the village court office. And she told me that those statistics are available on the comptroller's site under the justice court accounting, but they're apparently quite difficult to find. But it is on the web.
Well, the thing is, you almost have to look at it.
I couldn't find
it. What I do is I look in the paper. I get it firsthand because there they are. The report comes out from the police department weekly, and I look there to see so that I can understand exactly what's going on in the town of Goshen. But what I don't do is recap it for a month, a quarter, or a year. Okay. And
that is the basis of my having made the suggestion, both publicly and privately, to members of both boards, that consideration be given down in the county to traffic policing and reducing the size of both forces, turning traffic enforcement over to the county.
It's not that easy. The sheriff does not have, number one, the personnel to do it, nor does the state police. State police now, forget it. They have very few personnel left. There's retirements taking place every month. I get a book from the PBA, and they list all of the retirees. It's incredible. Everybody's bailing out. These slots are not being backfilled. The governor refuses to impanel another state police academy till I think it's 2013.
well, I think that when I went to a meeting a week or so ago with our commissioner of finance and our budget officer, and we were talking about the 2% cap. The 2% tax cap is for 2012, 13, 14, 15, 16. And when I look, we do have very good records going back. Okay? I don't want to speak out loud about what I saw, but it was something like, I don't remember the year, like $941,000 was the cost of the police department, like 5 years ago. Next year it's going to be $1.8 million. I go out another 5 years and you're well over $2 million. Okay? The point is, we cannot sustain that, not just in Goshen, but anywhere in New York State at this exactly, it's going up 8 or 9% a year because of all the things that go in it. It's a very, very, very expensive service. Okay? And the law is today, whatever police have, you cannot negotiate away. You can only negotiate going forward. Mm-hmm. So, for example, our police have 5 days on, 2 days off. 5 days on, 2 days off. 4 days on, 3 days off. With pay, that third day. Okay. They don't contribute to their medical insurance, which is now about approaching $18,000 for a family policy. They don't contribute to their retirement. They don't contribute to their...
But they risk their lives.
Oh, I understand. I'm just talking about what it costs. Okay, and listen, I'm very proud of our police and what they do, but I'm looking out 5, 10, 15 years, and what the state of New York is sharing with all municipalities, just not us, is can we become more efficient through sharing of services, merging or whatever it is. And I said, gee, I don't know. And I listened to all this. These are things that we're gonna have to look at in years to come. Will it happen? I don't know. I really don't know. And I have no axe to grind one way or the other, because I am very proud of our police department and what they do. But we'll see, you know.
Well, Doug, what you just said is true. But all of this was done.
Oh, yeah.
Vacation time, sick leave, whatever, raises. This was all done by negotiations with town officials, who at the end of negotiations sign their name. You know, you get the feeling, and believe me, I know where you're coming from, but the way it sounds as though, oh, these cops have everything.
No.
Well, who gave it to them?
But Jerry, absolutely. You know, absolutely. This was done in years past, okay? It's in place. You can't change it.
That's right.
Okay, by law. But I'm not going back. I'm just going forward and saying, you know, because we have a 5-year budget, we try to look out 10 years. Do you want to come to New York State? I mean, New York right now, I mean, and the reality, okay, we pay 78% more property tax in New York than the national average. 78% more, okay? We pay more to educate each child in New York State than any other state in the Union, and yet we come in 37th in the quality of education we provide. These are facts that the comptroller was talking to us all about. Okay? And so it doesn't do any good to say, well, they don't exist, or let's proceed on, because we have people, and they come to my office every day, very, very frightened about being able to stay here. We'll see in a few days when we do the tax re-levy against property tax, the unpaid water and sewer bills. Because it seems to me like we have 5 water districts and 2 sewer districts. And last year we had $287,000 of unpaid water and sewer bills that went on their property tax, and if they don't pay it, they lose their home. Goshen it is not financially healthy, the society, okay? And so we're trying to manage all of this. And as I shared in the last meeting, truly, you know, that we entertain having Macy's come in here to build a 1.5 million square foot building and create 1,200 jobs. They looked at us and said, I don't think so. Too high cost. And they went to Berkeley County, West Virginia. That building is well under construction, and they're taking application for 1,200 jobs. So we represent everybody. I'm very proud of the police department. I'm very proud of all our employees. I can't think of what was done in the past. I can only think about what we need to be doing going forward and do our best. It's a balancing act. But I do know the state of New York wants us to up the increase more than 2% for the next 5 years. Because they know in Albany we're not cost competitive with other states. And we can do what we want to do. I mean, it is our state, it is our municipality, it is our school system. And
There's a very interesting point here.
No, I'm just...
There's a very interesting point here. And there's no doubt this board has done everything they can to watch out for the taxpayers' money.
yeah,
But then, on another level, in the county, they want to build a new county building. They want to sell the nursing home.
yeah.
Well, there's something wrong with all of this. I mean, if we have to suffer economically, why are we going to build a new building? Can't get a straight answer out of anybody.
Well, it's interesting. I had a meeting today with Assemblywoman Rabbit about this very issue.
Mm-hmm.
We bought in the last 12 months 2 1990, and you could, Mr. Petrovich, you can appreciate this, being a DPW down below.
Maybe you will.
We bought 2 1995 dump trucks, 1995, refurbished them, and put them into the fleet because we can't afford to buy new ones. We probably have $30,000 in each one of these trucks. A new one's $185,000. Stop thinking. I mean, if anybody told me 6 or 7 years ago I couldn't afford to buy a new truck for our employees, I'd say you're crazy as a loon. Crazy as a loon. But we can't do that without having astronomical tax increases. So I was talking with Annie Rabbit today. She said, you know, Doug, you're about the only municipality in the whole state of New York that hasn't borrowed money in 6 years for these kinds of things. Everybody else is, oh, let's lease it, let's buy it, buy it, buy it. And now they're up to here in credit card debt. And they're coming on tough times, guys and gals. They're coming on tough times because this recession, I thought it was going to last 2 years, 3 years. We're in the third year, finishing the third year. This is going to go 5 or 6 more years.
More like 15.
And if people lose their job, they're not going to find another job. They're not going to. I'm trying to protect our jobs. I am. Because I know if we lay somebody off, they're not going to find another job. So I appreciate our employees, but it's a balancing act. We've got to do it right. We've got to do everything we can.
I got a comment on, I've been working for a municipality in Garfield, Bergen County for 23 years. I have to pay, starting next year, 4%, the following year 8%, and then the following year 12% to my health insurance. And it costs the city down there for a family coverage $25,000 a year.
Isn't that something?
And
God love you.
my pension I just got my check today. My pension went up 1%, but don't go to my pension because they borrowed on our pension. So it's just to pay back the money they lost. And the town is not matching it either. So basically I'm throwing 1% of my salary away.
Yeah.
Going to the pension system.
Well, thank you for those comments, because you know what? I mean, life is tough everywhere. There's someone living in the town of Goshen, an architect, senior person, I don't know how old, I'd say 50, 60, lost a job. Okay, worked in New York. A week or two. Then the wife lost a job. They're in the senior part of their life, and they both lost their jobs. That's what's happening right here in the town of Goshen. And so the 2% cap is important. It is important we buy old trucks and refurbish them. It is important that we look at everything and not just more of the same. Because we're going to benefit one way or the other, good or bad, on how we manage, just like in a family's budget. So I take it seriously. I get really excited about it. I've been spending sleepless nights for 2 months regarding this cap. We just had. I take this like it's my money. And my wife calls me cheap.
I wouldn't want to go to dinner with you.
Yeah, well, you pick the pick. That's it. But I think through everything.
I'll go with Dennis.
You're going to have a swig of that. Okay, enough. But I appreciate everybody's comments, and I certainly am proud. They do put their life in line.
Get that.
Okay, what else you got there, guy? I won't get to bed again.
Well, I wanted to see if I could get your head all red, but I haven't accomplished that yet. So the next meeting, I'll work on it.
Okie dokie. All right, would someone like to make a motion that we adjourn?
One quick thing. Can you comment on the status of the arbitration?
Yeah.
And the IMA?
Again, it's proceeding. We hope to have something for the public and certainly the town board next month, but it's proceeding.
Thank you.
Good.
Not finalized.
It's coming together. Would someone like to make a motion we adjourn with the intent not to return, to go into executive session to discuss the status of CSEA negotiations? And does anybody else got anything they want to talk about? I'd like to talk a little bit about negotiations together.
So moved.
Second.
Okay?
The comment in general is no good.
All right, PBA, CSCA,
That's right.
financial.
That's
I
right.
don't get told about a general. Well, police chief, I've got a general.
Yeah, no, it's one of these days where you get jacked up.
Okay, sure. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Folks, thank you very much for coming. Thank you for your input. Mr. Pettit.